Hey, Super Squad, and welcome back to a special on the sofa, where we're going to be talking about the election results. And I've got a bit of a full house tonight. I've got Critical Cripple,
Yeah.
aka Scientist Mel,
Hi.
Big Dastardly's Left Glove, aka a very stable milking stool, and purple rhymes with orange, and we've got nerdy rodents in the chat calling us all nerds.
He's not wrong.
So,
I don't know if nerd's the worst thing anybody can throw at me this week. We're doing pretty good.
Me too.
so what the hell's happening?
Biden's won an election. We just need to wait to find out how.
Well, it's called votes. But apparently Donald Trump seems to think they don't matter. So
he's driving me nuts with that. It's all of a sudden it goes from we were winning and then they found more votes. They counted them.
Yep.
But God.
Unfortunately, while it's still unlikely, there is still the possibility that the Republicans could pull some really shitty stuff because the Electoral College is not really bound by the popular vote.
They're not. Last election, we did have what are called Hamilton electors. If you haven't checked into that, they can choose to not give a vote to a particular candidate based on the fact that they're horrible. And there were a few electors who chose to not vote for Donald Trump.
Well, and in most elections, there winds up being a couple of those.
Yes.
But, usually 2 or 3 of them doing that doesn't make any difference. This year it could.
Yes. I know the last election, a lot of the electors were getting death threats in swing states if they didn't follow the popular vote. And I think there was at least one that resigned because they were so afraid.
All right.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's part of why they generally try to keep the electors anonymous.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Because they are seriously afraid of people trying to strong arm them or blackmail them or something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the Americans are doing their thing again. They're doing their crazy. And when you've got, in one state, Trump is shouting, "Stop the count." But in another state, he's saying, "Count the votes." You've got to be, come on, America, wake up. You're so embarrassing. I mean, you were doing so well. You did that thing with the moon and your rockets and all that shit.
Oh my God.
And now you just, which I don't believe in, by the way, Mel. I think it's scientism. Yeah. Never happened.
Never happened.
No.
Mr. Celery disagrees with you.
I don't know who Mr. Celery. Oh my gosh! Don't do things. No, please don't do things.
Mr. Celery.
I hate it when you get Mr. Celery out.
I know.
I hate to point something out.
He's so soft and flaccid.
Why do you think that looks like a mister?
It's not just when she does it. It's when she announces it. Because when she says, "I'm going to get Mr. Celery out," I think, "Oh no, this is going to get banned. Don't do that."
You had a question, Dave. I missed it.
Well, do you not think that looks female, not male?
No. I saw this and immediately thought of stool. I thought it was perfect. Hello.
I think it looks more like you is the problem.
Mr. Celery.
Hey, we got a sneak peek behind the scenes there. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I actually saw her put her arm all the way in it.
Yes,
so
that's how that works with the Muppet,
That's kind of, you've broken the fourth wall here. You're breaking
I'm
the rules.
Deadpool today. You poop spackled fart Muppet. Yeah.
Well, with the glasses and the pom-pom hairdo, it reminds me of Red Fraggle.
Kind of does, but we could just call Stool Red Fraggle then. That might work.
Well, I guess it's just me that's got this thing about vets. I like it when you put the arm all the way in, Mel.
I bet you do.
Mm-hmm.
That costs extra.
Yes.
I know. SJ told me. I know.
Okay. Now you're going to give SJ more fuel.
I am.
Mm.
But we should ask her, does she use a glove or does she go straight in with her husband?
Whoa.
Is lube or
moving-
not?
Moving swiftly on.
Yeah, move on, Mike. Move on.
Well,
The,
I've maintained for quite a while that Donald Trump is just a puppet and Ivanka's the one running everything.
all right.
Maybe.
She seems to be the only one in the family smart enough to pull it off.
Are you
Maybe.
kidding
Who
me?
were?
I don't know how I
Ooh,
feel.
Yeah.
She can't breathe out her
Very
nose. She has to put straws up her nose if she gets professional makeup.
She's
Yeah,
not.
Like the whole business with China was for her to get 25 exclusive patents.
Mm. Yeah,
Well-
I mean, but that just sounds like a completely different brand of nepotism. It had nothing to do with her ability and everything to do with who her dad was and being president.
Yeah, because it's not totally dodgy at all that
Yep.
Ivanka, as you call her, has all these Chinese trademarks for voting machines. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
weird.
Yep.
That's not weird at all. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not in the slightest. But
Well, see, that's what I mean. All the big stuff winds up going back to her. And I just don't think Donald Trump is smart enough to have orchestrated most of this.
No,
He hasn't. She's used her daddy's position, saying, "My dad's the president, and you need to do what I." She's pulled a whole Veruca Salt on the matter.
Yeah.
the
I
people
want
that
this
we
now,
need.
Daddy. Now, give me China.
Yeah, touch my gina, Daddy.
Ew,
Okay, I didn't do that.
I want to puke now.
allegedly.
Do people ever say you're creepy
Allegedly.
still?
We've got spooky bed hair in the chat as well. And never again.
I think. Who do you think's running the show, Scientism Mel? I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. You say first. Who do you think's running the show? Out of his family and immediate circle.
Mike.
The GOP, Mitch McConnell,
No.
all
But
of them.
the people who he actually listens to.
The people he
don't
doesn't
think he
he
listens
doesn't
to
listen to
anyone.
anybody. I think the GOP knows how to work him in order
Oh,
to
yeah.
get what he wants
Yeah, he's a puppet.
and what
yeah.
they want. Oh, you know what? You should go golfing. You've worked so hard today. Why don't you just sign a couple things like this? This is going to make you look great. Look at how awesome you're doing. You're doing so great. The people are going to love it if you do this.
So I think he's yes minister.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's just like,
Well, one of the White House staffers that got bounced out actually said that when they gave him a briefing, they made sure his name appeared in every paragraph, otherwise he would stop reading.
Yeah.
And with pictures.
here's a picture of Trump put on like the body of Rocky.
John Bolton was speaking a short while ago, and he was saying on the record, not a rumor or whatever, that the people in the White House, he says, are now really scared because they know it's over. But still, nobody will tell the orange shit given this. He didn't actually say orange shit given. I'm just
Well, I
paraphrasing.
bet there are a lot of people running around the basement of the White House right now destroying documents.
Yes,
yeah.
so this is what we've been talked about. We might actually get a result. There's meant to be a news conference in 5 minutes from Pennsylvania.
Ah.
So it could get
Pennsylvania.
called while we're live on the air.
We actually had Biden speaking live a short while ago. If you heard that, I don't know.
I didn't hear that. I was in a meeting.
I think that was unplanned, and he spoke for about 1 minute.
What'd he say?
And it was, well, you can imagine it was sensible, you know. we are grown-ups.
Yeah,
But Pennsylvania is a key state, isn't it?
Well,
Well-
Pennsylvania's the biggest one that's left.
Yeah.
I would
And
be honest, if Biden wins any
gets
of them,
Pennsylvania, that would give him 284 electoral votes, and 270 guarantees the win.
Yes.
Can I just
Yeah.
So at
Ray-
that point, he'd be far enough over that even if we had a couple of the untrustworthy electors, it would still be pretty hard for them to manipulate it.
can I just break another fourth wall, please? Because our wonderful host here, Mike, who is awesome, didn't know what PA actually meant until a few hours ago.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it doesn't
I did-
surprise me. Some of the
He had
states,
to be told.
I mean,
yeah, some of the
personal
states'
assistant.
abbreviations don't make much sense.
You know, and to be fair, lots of different areas in London, the way that they're spelled don't make sense either. Southwark, are you kidding me? It's spelled like Southwark. Come on,
Oh,
man.
you're gonna say your favourite word again, aren't you?
Southwark.
No, you liked cockfosters.
Have not
Cock
been there.
Fosters?
Have not been there, but I've heard it on the PA on the tube sitting there.
Mhm.
Next stop, Cockfosters.
The Associated
Mind
Press
the gap.
have got Joe Biden at 264, but BBC have got Biden at 253.
Because they've called Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does depend which news source you look at. Some of them have or haven't called certain states.
Yeah.
So
Ah,
yeah,
I trust Fox with Biden's numbers.
This is actually a big deal, isn't it? Because if you heard Trump when he was speaking to Fox, and if you heard it, Trump sounded really unwell. I've said this. He sounded
yes,
ill.
he did, yeah.
And he's very, very upset with Fox because with Fox News, what the fuck? Because they dared to give a different interpretation of what was happening at the time
Ah, yeah.
that wasn't not in his favor.
It's, you know,
I haven't
it's-
looked at, I haven't seen anything from the other people. You know, those other awful people. Fox News on meth, OAN. I've no idea what those people are saying about this, but
Oh no. Yeah, I was just gonna say I've pulled up the current where the Associated Press. I would trust them than just a single news source because they collectively take in several information.
yeah, this is a
Yeah.
thing I've never really understood that you guys do with this calling it thing. You know, stop doing it. Just stop
Why?
doing it.
The problem is
Well,
it takes days to get results.
I
They
mean,
want results faster.
Georgia is at 99% reporting, and we have 2,430,153 votes for Biden. Okay. For Trump, it's 2,439,678 votes. We're talking about
Right.
less. We're talking about it's 0.25% difference, or yeah, about a 0.2% difference between the two.
Right, it's just come out from the campaign, from Trump's campaign, from a Trump campaign official that he will not concede,
No, he
even
won't.
if Joe Biden declares victory and goes over, and they're predicting it goes over the
He
270.
won't concede. There are people standing.
Kelsey Breeze.
I mean, there are people standing. We're standing outside Pennsylvania's like main like capital, screaming for people to stop counting votes. I mean, my God.
Yeah.
What?
Protesting against democracy.
How dare we count every vote? That doesn't matter. I'm like, well, can we just not count all the racist and bigoted people? Because y'all are dumb AF. For real, man. Can you
Yeah.
just throw your votes out because you don't deserve to vote because of how stupid you are? And evil and awful. Racist people know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no, they're choosing to be this way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a choice.
Hmm.
There's no way anybody with half a brain can. Hi, Laura. There's no way that anybody with half a brain can actually believe this nonsense. You've got to be seriously. I'm not going to say bad words, but you've got to be seriously impaired
Mm.
to think this is real.
Yeah.
But because of how cults work, there are a lot of stupid people who will fall for this nonsense. But you've also got a huge number of people. They know it's lies,
Yes, they don't
but
care.
they don't care.
Yeah.
They have to believe or pretend to believe, because as long as the other side is, it's all about sides, A or B.
Yeah.
A lot of
they're
people.
They're all about hating the other
Well,
side.
Another thing that I have noticed over the years is that a lot of people, once they have adopted a position,
Mhm.
they can never admit they were wrong. So
Yeah.
since they voted for Trump once, they can never admit that it was a mistake.
This is very true, and we've got the same thing over here with the B word, because one of the,
Mhm.
I'm not a clever head doctor person, but one of the most difficult things that humans can do is to admit that they've been conned.
Yes.
But they don't,
They
though.
will-
They justify it backwards. You make a
They'll-
decision and then you justify it.
They'll
I
dig
watched
down
it
further and further.
with my
Yeah.
father, go literally with the Brexit vote as to why he was going to vote for Brexit. And then as we went along, and as it happened, every single one of those reasons came out that was not why he did it.
They
Yeah.
We
it's treated out here a lot. It's treated like it's sports. Like it's
Yeah,
a football
exactly.
game. And this is
This
your
is very-
team.
This is very true.
That's
One
the
of the
part that scares me is a lot of them don't understand that this is more important than a football game.
Yeah.
It's
They
not
don't
a game. It's
it's
real
not.
life. And one of the new, if I'm sounding loud, I apologise. You know, I get paranoid about this big hairy muff. But the word that we're now learning is footballification. Politics has been turned
Yeah.
into a game of
Yeah.
flipping football.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
wasn't it? I thought America had turned everything into baseball for the last 50 years.
I meant proper football, not shit that they do.
I hate sports. I don't enjoy them
Oh,
at all.
Disclaimer: I
neither do
do
I.
not understand football. Your
It's-
version or mine, so whatever.
It's
No, I can't stand sports. There's a couple of sports I'm happy to play, but in terms of spectating, in terms of this obsession, in terms of any of this, it's horrible.
I just
Well, American football is pretty easy to understand. It's just the classic game we've always played. Let's take the other guy's fucking land. Just we're only going to take it 10 yards at a time.
Yeah, slowly.
that's pretty much
You know,
it. I think
it's just like what we did to the Native Americans. We just,
it doesn't one side.
we
it
just
doesn't
kind of
one side
moved
get
in, we
done.
established a beachfront, we built a town, then we took a state, then we took the next state over.
we're like, here you go. We're gonna give you this little bit over here. It just and Thanksgiving's coming up, and I can't even. It's just I don't even want to think about it. I think I'm just gonna be thankful for Indigenous people. I
Yep.
can't.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick of all that. And I don't know. I feel like the US and the UK are in a genital smashing contest, and I'm wondering who's going to win. I was like, take your
Hang on.
hammers out.
Well,
Gents.
I do have to say, to me, it's a bright side of COVID that no one will expect me to show up at any family gatherings.
Me too. Oh my God. At the last election, I knew a big old chunk of my family voted for Trump. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I am not going there. I'm not going to say I'm not, because some of them are racist. They're outright racist. They don't understand how I could have a degree because I'm a woman and I'm lucky because that's a disability in their head. So it's like, I have no interest whatsoever to sit around a bunch of hillbilly people with a bunch of guns acting like that. So I
Yeah.
went to New Orleans. I'm like, screw
I
you
am
guys.
gonna
I'm gonna go to
rewind.
New Orleans for Thanksgiving.
You know how this works. You know me. I've got to rewind, and I've got to ask this question. I now want Scientism Mel to get a job on CNN to do the political analysis, because a genital smashing contest. Just let's get, for the benefit of our viewers, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Not totally sure.
Outside of FetLife, I would say it's a bad thing.
So if I go
Yeah,
outside now and do it,
Purple, this is where you find out what this is where you find out how interesting people are. Who knows what FetLife is?
I plead the fifth.
I'm British and I also plead that as well. But I do it with a sexy accent, so
Southern accents are sexy. What's wrong with you? Anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
FetLife is a website for fetish lifestyles.
Anyway,
And
apparently, Michigan have already thrown out the Republicans' lawsuits.
Yes,
yeah,
Oh, it
They've
was
already thrown that
Georgia.
out.
Georgia threw it out.
Georgia did as well.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
hadn't heard Michigan. I knew Georgia threw it out, but I hadn't heard about Michigan.
Yeah,
That's
it-
fantastic.
It was a Michigan judge that just wouldn't even take them seriously because they couldn't show any evidence.
There is no
Yeah.
evidence.
My feelings are hurt. I've been playing Animal Crossing all day, and you don't understand. This is completely taken away all of my. It's just, what are you gonna say? I was out golfing, and I had to stop my golf game to
Do you
come and
want a
deal with
friend
this.
in Animal Crossing?
Huh?
Do you want a friend in Animal Crossing?
I don't play
Dave,
it.
Dave,
I
that
don't
is the
actually play it.
shittest chat up line ever.
I do have another game that I play though.
I don't play.
An app. I'm like a level 20. I play like Evany, EVONY. It's an app on my iPad, and apparently I'm a really high level player now. And people get mad when I attack their cities during an event where you're supposed to attack cities. And I've been called the B word today, so whatever. Maybe put up a little truce agreement bubble during the killing event, and you won't have your city attacked.
Does
that how
anybody
it
know
works,
what the hell she's
Purge?
talking about?
No, but it sounds like a purge game, and that the people aren't playing by the rules. They're pissed off. They're getting purged.
It's not even that. There's like, okay, so there's the Monarch competition, and there's different segments of the competition, and for 3 days out of the entire week, you can go and attack other cities, but you don't have to participate. You can put up a truce agreement, which you can get, and it puts a bubble around your properties, and nobody messes with you, and it's fine. But if you don't choose to do that, it's fair game, and you're supposed to get points, and then whoever wins the competition gets all kinds of resources. So if you don't like that, find another freaking game, or put a bubble up. Don't call me a bitch in an email
Nerdy
because
just-
I attacked you.
Nerdy and Spooky are pushing the hashtag Purge Dave.
Purge
can-
Dave.
I'm very behind this movement.
There's already a hashtag out against me. Bring down Dave.
I endorse this.
Purge Dave. Does that mean we're going to make him puke?
I think it's got something to do. I think
Put
it's
your
about
fingers
colonic
down the throat.
irrigation.
I vote that Stool's got to be the one that sticks his
Yeah.
fingers down my throat.
Well, point them away
Oh,
from
that was
me and not
brilliant.
on the carpet.
Purge Dave. Puking on the floor.
Oh, I want
Dave.
Pennsylvania to be called right now and called for Biden.
Yeah, that'd
Oh.
be great.
Yes.
I'm not seeing what's happening on the YouTube, so I'm going to assume that Mike is doing another really shit stream. But what you really need,
Yeah.
you do need a ticker. You do need a ticker on the bottoms because we need to be updated. Not that anything's going to happen for the next 3 days, but whatever. Just saying.
Well, the map he put up is showing even Michigan and Wisconsin is not being decided here.
99% of the expected votes counted in Wisconsin,
But
and same as Michigan.
yeah, but
So,
yesterday they had called both Michigan and Wisconsin for Trump.
Yeah.
yeah. And but people thought that Texas was going to flip.
Oh,
So
God.
Yeah.
why didn't it? What happened? What went
Well,
wrong?
they were saying it was a possibility, but I'm not surprised. No Democrat has won Texas since Jimmy Carter in 1972.
Yeah.
Okay. And Arizona, is that going to go to Biden? It looks like it. It looks like
Yeah.
it's a very real possibility.
Yeah, most of them have already called Arizona for Biden.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's all right. Pennsylvania has just turned around. The Secretary of State says they'll be counting into the evening. Damn.
All right.
That's all she said.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like with Pennsylvania. They had estimated how many ballots they had left, and then they realized there was like 50,000 more than they thought there were.
Right.
The
Those are
BBC
magical
called-
ballots, and they just appeared magically, which means fraud.
Yeah.
No, you slowed
Oh,
down the
gosh.
freaking postal
That's
system on purpose.
I
Yeah.
am surprised.
Pennsylvania is going to Trump, according to the BBC.
The BBC called it.
No, they haven't called it, but
Because
he's
that's because
ahead at the-
sorry. Yeah, no. Trump was ahead in most states, to be quite honest, because there is a prevalence because of COVID, an awful lot more Democrat voters voted by post, and in a
Right.
lot of states, postal votes didn't get counted till last. So there is the expectation that the majority of the votes left to be counted are Biden's.
There
Yeah.
are like 4 states that the courts have already ruled that even if the ballots have not yet been received, if they were postmarked before Election Day, they could count them if they receive them up to 4 or 5 days after the election.
Yeah.
Right.
In some states, it's actually up to 10 days afterwards. And that's their rule,
Yeah.
their law.
Well, part of the really confusing thing with the U.S. is the laws are different in every state.
Exactly.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, we don't have one election. We have 50 separate elections, and then they add up all the results.
And this is the thing that confuses people, because if you're not an American, what you've got to realize is that America is basically 50 countries with completely different rules for each
A
For the
country.
bit.
most
Yeah.
part, it is, yeah.
I mean, you look at Louisiana, they just passed a bill to ban all abortions.
Yeah.
That passed in their
And-
latest election. And I'm
And
like,
this is
Did you
This
hear
is-
the good news that Poland has suspended implementing their abortion ban
well, that's good. They
Yeah.
need to do the same in Louisiana. And
on
it'll
the
be up to the
basis
same.
of basically a general strike by women?
Is that a real thing, Dave?
Yes,
Yes.
I hadn't
and
seen this.
suspended. It's not. So they
Oh,
don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, but basically the women went on strike. They stopped cooking. They literally all the stuff. Housewives stopped doing everything, and they stopped going to work at all.
This sounds very 1950s. So the women stopped cooking, did they?
The ones that were housewives stopped cooking.
I think it's more like most of the wives said, you're going to fix this or you're never getting laid again.
Yeah, probably.
Nerdy brings something up here. American is weird. I think it's America, but not American. But that's okay. Americans are weird. They put gravy on biscuits and think all people own think all people own donkeys.
Do all people own donkeys?
What?
I don't think all people own donkeys, but I think a lot of people are jackasses. If that's what you
Yeah,
mean.
I think I think he's talking about the word ass, because you guys really need to
Oh.
sort that out. It's an ass.
No, it
just
doesn't
saying.
matter. It doesn't matter. We say ass here. It's fine.
There was a wonderful. I'm not a big fan of the meme kind of thing, but the Simpsons are quite brilliant.
They
Even if
are.
we don't watch them anymore, there was a really good one which I can't find. I've searched for it, and it's the picture of Homer. He's sat at his console in the nuclear plant, and he's got 2 buttons to press. In the background, there is an open door, and the rest of the world is watching. And I think the tagline is, America, you're going to press the wrong fucking button again.
Yeah, they're trying. I like I had said before on Twitter, I have 2 Biden Harris signs in my foyer. And I haven't put them in my yard because I'm too afraid to.
Do you mean your foyer?
Yep.
Yes. That's fine. I can
Porch.
call it that too. It's not a porch. It's the door. It's like the hallway that leads to the rest of the house from the front door.
Is anybody else getting turned on by this? I love it when she
She's talking
explains
about
it.
hall.
Yeah.
Receiving hall, whatever you want to call it. I don't
A
care.
hall.
This is literally about vaginas.
Oh my god.
No, it does matter what you call it.
I call it a foyer.
Yeah. Well, when my grandmother was trying to get a home improvement credit in Michigan because the government was doing this program,
Mhm.
they would not pay to repair the porch, but when they listed it as a foyer, they put a new roof on it.
Oh my god, that's funny. But yeah, so I've got it sitting in there because my next door neighbor has there's like a Confederate flag and a Trump sign hanging out. And I'm going, I know he's packing heat. He's also part of the volunteer fire department. And I'm like-
Daddy would like to understand the logistics of sitting on your fanny,
Oh god.
because no one in England can work that one out.
I don't understand the question.
Do I have a spanner in this channel? Because Nerdy is a bad, bad boy.
Well, I mean, we also have the Fannie Mae organization.
Well, we had Fanny Craddock.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, that will mean nothing to our American friends, but that's still one of the funniest names ever.
Well, I mean, I guess you could sit on your fanny in England if you were doing it in a different way, like riding a horse or something.
Why is this chat turning me on so much?
And you weren't doing it side saddle. But still, either way, we have fanny packs here.
I really
Yes.
wanted to have one of those boards because Mel kindly suggested, because she's clever, that I should do the statistical analysis, but I haven't got a whiteboard behind me.
I have a whiteboard right here.
And the point, don't show your whiteboard,
It has
please,
it has
Mel.
chemistry on it right now.
Okay,
if we were
chemistry
doing,
is
like,
cool.
Thermochemistry.
Chemistry we can live with. I hate it when you get your whiteboard out and you write bad things about me. You with your fake news.
I can write something about you on here right now.
Oh no, get the puppet out.
Get the puppet out. You really want Mr. Celery out right now?
See, she just does it.
Good,
I think that Dave and Mike will remember or be aware of that awesome laugh that Sid James used to do. And
Stool is a fanny pack.
I'm not even
You
going
should
to screen
stuff
shot
it full of stuff, your fanny pack.
So you're
We-
saying the stool packs fanny?
we used to
Well-
call it a bum bag.
Yes.
Yeah, is that worse or I don't know. This
No, bum bag
politics,
is better.
this discussion about the American political system is going really well, isn't it?
Yes.
Well,
We're back to fannies and bums.
Oh,
Hey,
Rule
Artie,
Britannia.
just don't say breasticles.
what the hell are breasticles?
are they like Bristols?
No, breasticles. You don't know what breasticles are?
I'm not
thought
sure
I
I want
did.
to know.
He
What do you
wants to
think they
know.
are?
Well, my guess is they're breasts, but that sounds terribly twee.
Yes, they're breasts. I just
That's what I said.
decided to say breasticles.
That's why I said it sounds like Bristols.
Mm.
No, guys have testicles, women have breasticles.
Okay,
And
I
breasticles.
thought they were only breasticles if you go out when it's below zero without a shirt on.
They might be. They might be that
Oh.
too. You might have a bit of shrinkage.
We've got Artemis brain sample in the chat. So
Yay, Artie.
hello.
Hey, Artie. Don't see him around much.
We love the
I
Artie.
wanted
He's a
to,
dick. One of the reasons why I love Artie is because he has his Christmas tree permanently set up all year round, and he just moves it into the correct room for the festive period. I get behind this. That's
I
how,
want
many,
to
how many
share
people
the
am I
tweet.
allowed to endorse? Because I'm now endorsing Artie.
As many as you like within reason. But someone I follow on Twitter, Vila Bianca, I hope I pronounced that correctly. She said this: "Let me get this right. Biden has more votes than any candidate in history, a
think
clear
that's true.
majority, and we're still like, oh gosh, I wonder who will win. Fuck
Mhm.
the
Yep.
electoral college."
I could be wrong about this, but from the little bit of research I've done, sorry, Scientism Mel, but from the little bit of research I've done, it does seem to be a true fact. Biggest number of votes ever. However, yeah,
That really needs to be adjusted a bit because he has the most votes ever, but if you go by percentage, just because he's got more votes because the population went up, There have been former elections that we had a higher percentage turnout.
Yeah, you see, this is where I was going to go with this one. She's annoying me. This is where you go with this one, because if you're going to say that, yes, it will be a bigger number because the population has gone up, I think that's a really shit argument. Can we make a go away?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing they do with movies about, saying that the movie that sold the most tickets in its opening weekend, and it's like, yeah, of course that number is going to keep going up every year.
Well, I could get out the Hungry Beaver, but then Stool would just get turned on.
Oh my gosh, did she just say that?
The Hungry Beaver.
This is what you can buy it on Amazon, is the Hungry Beaver puppet.
This is where we come
Nice.
for adult conversation about politics, ladies and gentlemen.
And we've lost Dave.
You almost lost me, to be honest.
What did you do to him, Stool?
I've done look. I've done nothing.
Okay, clearly Dave is scared of beavers.
Well, beavers that sound like Stool, yeah, I'd be scared too.
But going back to the Electoral College, is that better or worse than our electoral system? Because I don't think I fully understand it. I mean, I've tried my best to understand it, but
It's based on the population of each state. That's how the Electoral College works. And so the states that have a higher population have more electoral votes. States with lower population have less electoral votes. And the whole idea is when they set it forward is that it required presidential candidates to go and campaign in every single state. But the problem is they still fight for the battleground states, the ones that have the most votes, the most electoral votes. So the whole system is flawed. And the fact is we have technology now. We have individuals that are, that have access to the internet. We have access to television. We have access to all kinds of different ways to campaign. Sure, they should still go and talk to the people when we're not in the middle of a freaking pandemic in order to help, win over votes and engage with the population.
The original
But
idea,
it's kind of outdated,
outdated, yeah. But the original idea, correct me if I'm wrong, 200 years ago, was that people or states with a large population can't invoke the tyranny on the states that have fewer people in.
I mean, that has some.
Have I misunderstood something? Because correct me, but do all that when you look at the map and you look down the middle, all the Republican type of people, they're big areas with not very many people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But they get more votes in the electoral college.
No, the smaller population states don't get more votes, but a lot of the red states vote for Republican regardless of that because they're farming people. There was a really interesting thread that I saw on Twitter about the history of why it is that we're seeing more blue being flipped in certain southern states, because the southern states, and Artemis Brain Sample brought up slave states. So the South has voted historically Republican.
Yeah.
Because of the fact, Republican, I believe it was in the 50s or the 40s or something, they flipped platforms with the Democrats, because used to be Republicans were anti-slavery and that sort of thing, but then they flipped platforms. Now, what we're seeing is whenever the slaves were released and some couldn't afford to move up north at all, because of, the fact they were released, they didn't have any land, they didn't have, so they had to just kind of stay where they were. And so what we're seeing is a steady increase of population of descendants of the people that who couldn't move are consistently voting Democrat. And so we're seeing a larger population of these minority groups, particularly in the South, that they were essentially stuck there because they didn't have the money or the means to move out of the South. So
unfortunately, Black men, actually, even more of them voted for Trump this time than last time around.
Oh,
And
gosh,
one
I
of the
don't
things
know.
I was reading was saying that basically they do that because they see him as being, a strong man and keeping women in their place.
It's interesting. I saw something about why it was that a whole bunch of white women voted for Trump. And the fact was that they perceive being able, voting for somebody who would sexually assault them and that sort of thing. The misogyny was more palatable than allowing somebody like a Black woman to be equal to them.
Yep.
So racism, it could be worse. I could be Black and a woman, or I could just be a white woman, and then
Yeah.
they'll always be less than me, and maybe I'll get benefits from,
Yeah, and that's the real problem is that with the racism is that these people think that if they give equal rights to the minorities, that somehow takes something away from them.
I mean, and then you get the Mrs. Waterfords, like the one that's in SCOTUS right now, who's a Supreme Court judge who's never actually tried a case, so that's nice. But she's there, and she's put in that position to where she has to concede to what her husband says. They have like leaders that her husband has to go and talk to. She has to ask permission to do things according to the little cult that she's in.
We keep saying this word cult, and I agree with it totally. And the clever people will say to me, no, this is not the correct definition of a cult. I think it is.
I mean, it is.
Yeah, Telltale did an analysis on Trump being a personality cult.
But the thing is that I remember, when was it? 2018. You had your midterm thingamajigs.
Right.
And everybody was, not just Americans, but people around the world, because we do watch and get scared. The Alabama thing, where you had the Roy, what was his name? Roy.
Somebody. Yeah, the dude that went around and
the guy on the horse
assaulting girls in the freaking mall.
Yeah, exactly. He was pretty much
he's
outed,
trash,
if you like, as being an unsavourable character. Let's just say
trash. Yeah,
and yet live on TV, the females who were voting were saying, I heard this, I saw it with my eyes, I don't care. This is women talking. I don't care because the Bible says that paedophilia, the Bible does not say that paedophilia is illegal.
Yeah.
Think about that.
No, I mean, I often encounter individuals like, why would people vote for a person like this? And there's lots of reasons. Number one, look at Trump. He's racist, misogynistic, bigoted, horrible human being, fascist, but he allows people a space to be racist and bigoted and use their guns and go out and intimidate people that don't look like them. He allows that. And so that's what they want. They want to have permission to do horrible things to others. I mean, and so white women who vote for assholes like this, they're like, well, if I vote for the horrible person, I'll get special treatment and everybody else will be treated like crap. And
this is so utterly true because
that is true. That's the truth of it.
It is. It's absolutely true, and I've had many conversations about this, and I know that Purple gets this, and all my weird people on the internet get this. It's about being allowed, not legally, but it's being given permission to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, and so this freaking SCOTUS person, this Amy Coney Barrett, she has gone through and done everything that she could to get accepted by a bunch of white dudes that were like, yeah, go and oppress the other women. We'll give you a seat in the Supreme Court. Even though you've never tried a case, you don't know what the hell you're doing. We'll just put you there as long as you agree with us. And it works. It works for women. I had one of my first PI I ever had. she actually was pretty freaking sexist. She was sexist. She treated the males differently than me, the men differently than me. She consistently made, women type of tripes and how it is. It just, she made sexist comments towards me all the time. But she had been in a boys' club for so long. She's so used to throwing other women under the bus. That's just what you do. You throw the women
Yeah.
under the bus so you can get ahead. And what do?
Yeah.
You just perpetuate it. It's a cycle of abuse.
Yeah. It's
And
a
it
very
works.
common thing in corporate America.
It works. And so, I'm like,
It
You
isn't
suck.
just about the workplace, though. It's increasingly becoming more,
it's everywhere. It's
Apparent.
freaking everywhere.
to me, it's becoming more apparent because now they have a loud voice that this is what these people do. They want to have,
Well,
they
and
want to be given permission to be a bad person. And
Yeah.
who do they aim their frustrations out on?
Yeah. But also in the southern states, they call it the Bible Belt, the serious Bible thumpers. There's a lot of this screwed up Bible shit that they still go by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of the southern states, it's fairly common that a teenage girl gets like abused by her uncle and they make her marry him.
Yeah. Some areas it's like that. Yeah.
Can I just point out to Artie that I'm not actually a prick?
No, he's a celery. There's a difference. He's a celery. Yeah, Mr. Celery.
Spooky.
The likeness is uncanny.
It is
Just
very
being-
uncanny.
The internet died, so that's why Dave's not here.
Okay, so this is why Stool always wears the hat so the pom-poms don't pop up out of the top of his head.
That's exactly correct. You remember the last time he took his hat off, people were commenting about the shape of his skull and it really bothered him. So he's sensitive. We shouldn't talk about that, guys. We should
Yeah,
not
He's
talk
never
about
taken
that.
his hat off. What you're thinking of is some kind of Mandela effect thing.
Oh, okay. That's what that
I
was.
need a safe space, please. Do not talk about the shape of my head.
Well, does it look
It's
like
so
one of the-
round. It's like a great round shape, though.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Listen, my head is really normal. It looks weird on camera. Shut up.
I
Look
didn't
like
say
Cole-
it was weird. I said it's a nice shape. How is that a problem
Hey.
for you?
Does it look like Cole Pilkington?
Oh, my, you evil. I fucking hate you, Mike.
He wants to call you a see you next Tuesday. That's what he wants to say.
I've got to say, this is, as political analysis goes, this is so much better than CNN.
Much better. CNN, eat your hearts out.
Should we do a poll about the shape of my head?
We should. Somebody called
I
you a
think we should.
coconut.
I mean, why the fuck not? Because America, you might as well just. Does it matter?
He's a talking coconut now, I guess.
Oh, for God's sake. It's perfectly normal.
It's okay for to have a coconut skull. That's fine.
My head is normal.
That's
Yeah.
fine. It is. It's fine. Don't worry
not-
about the shape of your head.
It's very normal. My mum had me tested.
I thought we'd gone over this, that you weren't going to use that N word when I'm in the room.
Normal. Oh.
No. You don't use that around me.
Sorry.
Anywho, the election. How long do you think it's going to be before we finally?
Probably
Oh.
3 to 5 days minimum before we know anything
Well,
substantial.
yeah, at least, and there'll be court cases being dragged out for several weeks.
Yeah, then we have that, and Donnie wants to poop his pants because he's a big freaking loser. And I'm just waiting for everybody to tell him you're fired. I think that'd be great. I'm gonna revel in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the memes.
You're fired.
I
Yeah.
think legally, because of the way your country works, the 13th of July would be the democratic way to do it, because you have some states that have added 10 days on to the post date of received
13th
postal
of
ballots.
July.
No, I've
Well-
said that totally wrong. Sorry.
Next
What the-
summer, we'll have a new president and the world will be on fire and we're all dead.
I've been in lockdown for 3 months. What month is
Okay.
it?
The federal laws do dictate that all the states have to certify their election results by December 14th.
Yes.
Ah,
That is
It's
the
not
only
figured out.
actual deadline.
And if it's not figured out and there's still problems, Nancy Pelosi becomes president in January.
okay, I see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Armitage is saying, I don't think Nevada is going to take the chance of announcing anything before they certify their votes on the 10th.
Yeah, Trump has already filed a legal action in Las Vegas against how the
Of
votes are
course he
counted
has.
in Nevada.
And let me just say, I've been to a Trump casino. I went there when it was there in Atlantic City. Your food sucks, Trump. Your casinos are trash. And it's just gross. I felt like I was walking through something that was just utterly disgusting.
Well, how can you possibly bankrupt a casino?
Exactly. You're so terrible at business. You bankrupt the
3
casinos. Yeah, 3
casinos.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, just that's one business that how can you possibly not operate at a profit?
There,
Because people basically just go in there to throw their money away. You're not giving them anything for it.
No, I mean, he's just,
it was
He's-
his personal
terrible.
piggy bank. And if you're an awesome, sexy person like me, you'll know that Trump hasn't just appeared in 2016. He's been around
No.
for a long, long time.
he's always been garbage.
And you can see with your own
Yeah.
eyes, you can hear with your own ears, you can read court records and all kinds of things. He is a piece of fucking, sorry, Mike, he's a piece of poo.
Yeah, Artie
And
had a point
his-
there of, why do you buy two of them that are competing against each other?
This is it. They literally competed against each other.
Because he's
Casino A.
terrible at business.
Casino B.
And he owes so much money. There's apparently a debt coming due that they want paid immediately. It's in the billions. I don't remember what it is right off.
It's
I saw
about
a news-
400 billion, I think. But that's from China.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, that's from China. But here's a fun fact. Deutsche Bank are now saying, you know what, we've had enough of this. Because he's giving us a really bad name. If you're familiar with Deutsche Bank, which
Yeah.
you're not because you're not rich, but they've basically said, look, fuck this, we've had enough.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. He owes so much money in so many places. He's
Mhm.
bankrupt more than like the poorest person in the US. It's like people go bankrupt in this country. Like people who aren't
Yep.
rich, they go bankrupt because of like healthcare bills, predatory credit cards, predatory loans, stuff like that. They don't go bankrupt because they've destroyed entire businesses.
I
But
think
he has
it
a
was
degree from Wharton, guys.
he actually doesn't, Mel. He really doesn't.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what's going to happen now because that his tax returns are made public and that
He
about
sucks.
all the foreign interest and literal mob bosses he owes money to. Are they all going to make like a huge bum rush to try and see who can get their money out of him before he's completely out of it?
Or, how long is he going to live? Or are they going to pull an Epstein? I mean, how long-
Never pulling
Yeah.
Epstein.
Yeah, well, no, seriously, because
mean,
some of the
real.
people he owes money to, if they realize they're not getting their money, they're not going to be very nice about it.
Yeah, I find
No.
it very interesting that our Russian glorious leader has been very quiet over this election period. And also, if you're a dick like me, sorry, Mike, if you're an idiot like me, there's a weird thing going on with the bots and trolls.
yeah.
It's been quieter, very, very quiet.
Mm.
And I know why this is because I'm clever. Putin is laughing. He really
Yeah.
is laughing.
He's gotten what he's wanted out of it.
Yep.
You know,
And-
and he's wanted
Yeah.
to destroy our democracy. This was a way to get back at the U.S. and show us how broken we are, which in hindsight is really important because we realize how broken we are, but it's also important for us to realize half the country is completely and utterly stupid and
Yeah.
drinking
Yep.
Kool-Aid and out of their minds. So
So
One
you
thing
saw,
they've highlighted to me is that millions of people have decided that misogyny, racism, incompetence, and just psychopathy are not deal breakers.
it's always
None of
been
those.
that way though. Mike, that's always been okay in the US. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. I mean, okay, back before Trump was elected, and I told this story on Twitter. Back before Trump was elected, I was teaching at a high school not far from here. And one of the chemistry teachers, I was teaching biology. One of the chemistry teachers was talking about the black on black crime in the inner city. And this was in the hallway with other science teachers. He was standing there talking about how he would go and solve that problem with his gun if they let him. He expressed this loudly in a busy hallway in between classes as students changed classes. I, of course, reported him because I'm like, and then I quit hanging out in the hallway with him because that's not what I teach in my classroom. I teach diversity and the importance of it. Here's this chemistry teacher saying all kinds of racist crap that he wants to kill black people and that's going to solve their problem for him while I have a diverse group of students. So guess what? He still has a job. So this isn't anything that's new. This has always
No.
been here.
Exactly. Yes. Scientism makes a very, very good point there. It has always been there. And if you've seen the clips of the guy, I can't remember his name. I think it was on MSNBC or I forget. He's a black dude. I have to say that because it's relevant. And he made a very impassioned, kind of unexpected talk from the heart kind of thing. This is not a new thing.
Mm-mm.
It's been there forever. And what people are now doing is, and I have to say Americans, sorry, but what Americans are now doing is saying, oh, we never saw this before.
Yeah, they're
But it's
pretending
always
like,
been
oh
there.
gosh, it's so bad. When did this happen?
Mm.
It's been around. And there are some white folks who are like, wow, I can't believe this. People are doing this. I'm like, did you think that this just didn't exist because, you just didn't happen to see it all the time? It's always been there. I mean,
If you can do sorry,
I knew it was there, but it's brought it. If I can find the words, it's brought it to the foregrounds. Whereas
the fact
before
that it's so blatant and in your
Yes.
face,
yeah,
because they've been
It-
emboldened and they're given a space to where they're allowed to do that. I mean, you look at the freaking attempt to kidnap a governor. That was
Yes.
okay. Or the fact that people were protesting with guns about wearing masks. That was completely fine. But for some reason, Kyle Rittenhouse, who went and shot several people, oh, well, he's just a misunderstood kid, during a protest. And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm here to just protect the businesses in a state that I don't live in. He was hunting.
Yeah.
He was hunting, and that was allowed. He was looking for somebody to kill. And so it's
Yeah.
just that's allowed.
Yeah,
That's completely
And they
in
victim
allowed.
blame the people he shot.
Yes. You saw he had a
Yeah.
gun. Why did you say anything to him? Because he had a freaking gun and he's a kid and he's stupid and he's going to kill somebody. That's why people spoke.
Well,
And so he killed multiple people.
yeah, not only did he have a gun and go hunting, his mother drove him up there for it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
son,
his parents are
have fun.
supporting this.
Exactly. They should be accessories to murder. They should
Yeah.
be tried for that.
Oh yeah.
I want to put my head through the wall because you know, where I live, we do have protests out here, but they're peaceful. Nobody brings freaking guns. They go out there, they wear a mask, there's social distancing, there's hand sanitizer stations. But then you have people that show up because they can't go to freaking Applebee's with guns, yelling and banging on the doors of like of the Capitol. And you're going, you can't go to a restaurant right now because you might die. Put on a freaking mask and stay home.
Yeah.
That for some reason is a problem, but systematic oppression of Black people who are peacefully protesting. And by the way, there was so much evidence to show that white supremacists were destroying property, not Black people. They were utilizing that as an opportunity to go and destroy businesses and blame it on Black people. So it's just like,
Of course. Yeah.
I'm so sick of everything. I just want to put my head through the wall all the time. It sucks.
It is very sucky indeed, but this is the worst way for me to give you any kind of information. But if you can find that damn thing, it was MSNBC, I think about 5 days ago, I don't know. And the guy is pretty much saying Trump is not the problem. He's amplifying the problem that you've had in your country
Yes.
for a very long time. And what he basically said was, every generation, you'll get new kids coming along and they'll say, this is really wrong.
Mhm.
But that keeps happening and nothing changes.
Mm.
I'm gonna post a link in the side chat. There's a brilliant and absolutely brilliant clip from the newsroom. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. It's the newsroom, just for people who don't know. This is a series that was featuring Jeff Daniels. Jeff Daniels was recently starring in the show called The Comey Rule. The newsroom was a political type of show where they talked about politics in the news. And so it was like CNN or something else, or NBC or whatever. And the clip is, America is not the greatest country in the world. So he's sitting on a panel, and this came out years ago. It's a brilliant series if you've not checked it out.
Is this a clip? You know, I love this series. I've not seen it. So is this a clip from that series?
It's a clip from that series. It's, I think, from when the first episode, he's sitting there on a panel with other people. You have a conservative, you have a liberal, and you have him who reports the news. And so the question, they're at a college, and there's a full house, and people are asking questions of the liberal and the conservative and the news representative. And so the last question they ask is, okay, I'm going to ask a question for all of you. Why is it? What makes America the greatest country in the world? And so one guy's like, freedom, freedom, freedom. That's why. And the other one's like, diversity. And, so freedom, freedom, freedom is the conservative. Liberals like diversity and opportunity and all of that. And then Jeff Daniels, who's in the middle, is sitting there, and he's like, he don't want to answer this question. And the professor is like, no, I'm going to hold you this. I want a human moment. And he goes, well, you know what? It's not. America is not the greatest country in the world. And he starts going through all these statistics on how stupid we are, our infant mortality rate. And he's like, you know what we're number one in? Incarceration. And he starts going through this entire list of why we're shitty. And then he goes, but you know what? We used to be pretty great. We put people on the moon. We didn't persecute people for poverty. We fought against poverty. We, had brilliant minds. We made great art. We did all of these things, and it's not that way anymore. So there's some things I don't agree with that he says, but it's a fantastic monologue. If you hadn't checked it out, it's really good. And it's just like, I feel it, man.
Okay. So that link is in the side chat if you want to check that out.
I've got it queued up.
It's really good. You'll like it.
Excellent. Anyway, we're 1 hour and 4 minutes, and I just want to. It's been an awesome discussion. It's been a really good discussion. I just want to thank you guys for coming along, and Dave as well, and to all the people in the side chat as well for contributing. And Stool, I have now given you a blue spanner. You'll be pleased to know.
Well, there
Yes,
goes the channel.
I thought you had one, but you didn't. So I've given you one.
Do you watch
And-
Colbert?
No.
It's good. You should watch Colbert. I watch him from time to time.
I wish I had the technology at my fingertips, but I was totally going to do a. You don't watch it, do you? You've no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I'm afraid not. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's tuned in for this election results special. And if you've liked this video, and we're here every Thursday. You know, all things being equal, On the Sofa is here every Thursday at 10 p.m.
Things are not equal.
Greenwich Mean Time. And so
I
yeah,
haven't got a puppet, so things are not equal.
You know, I can send you one, right? You can have your own.
subscribe and hit the bell icon. And Armitage is saying, "Love you, Sofa." and
Aw.
also before we go, I just want to plug the new video that I uploaded earlier today. If I can get the words out, a response video to a guy called Red Pen Logic.
Yeah, he was a dick.
Yeah, I watched that a couple hours ago.
Okay, brilliant. And
Oh,
so
boy.
that's out there for you to watch. And so yeah, thanks for tuning in, and see you next time. Bye for now.
Okay, later all.
Bye.